My girlfriend spent my savings money for my mom's surgery on her shopping spree. I need advice to break up. Quick. Beautiful people, if it is your first time here, like and subscribe for future videos. Let's begin with the story. Enjoy. Hey, Reddit. My name is Marlon. I'm 28 and I've been with my girlfriend Zephyr for about 2 years now. She's always had a thing for luxury and shopping, but I never thought it would lead to this kind of betrayal. I really need your advice on how to break up with her because I'm still in shock. It all started a few months ago. My mom, Davina, was diagnosed with a severe illness that required surgery. The cost of the surgery was astronomical, but she's my mom and I'd do anything for her. I had been saving up for years and finally had enough to cover her medical expenses. Or so I thought. Zephyr and I were living together, sharing expenses and a life. She knew about my mom's condition and the money I had saved up. She even pretended to be supportive, saying all the right things. I believed her because, well, love makes you blind, right? One day, I came home from work, exhausted and ready to crash. But when I checked my bank account, my heart nearly stopped. The savings account I had specifically for my mom's surgery was almost empty. The shock hit me like a freight train. I felt the room spin and my legs went weak. I knew something was terribly wrong. I confronted Zephyr immediately. She was lounging on the couch, scrolling through a fashion magazine. "Zephyr, what the hell happened to the money in my savings account?" I demanded, my voice shaking with a mix of rage and fear. She looked up, completely unfazed. "Oh, that. I used it for a few things I needed. Don't worry, I'll pay you back eventually," she said casually, like it was no big deal. I couldn't believe my ears. "A few things? Zephyr, that money was for my mom's surgery. How could you be so irresponsible?" She rolled her eyes and sighed. "Marlon, don't be so dramatic. It's just money. I needed a new wardrobe and some accessories. Your mom will be fine." At that moment, I felt a rage I'd never experienced before. But instead of exploding, I turned around and walked out of the apartment. I needed to cool off and think. After a sleepless night, I went back home, still fuming but determined to get my money back. When I walked in, Zephyr was nowhere to be found. Instead, I found shopping bags everywhere: Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton. It was like a high-end department store had exploded in our living room. I called Zephyr, but she didn't pick up. I texted her, demanding she come home immediately. Hours passed before she finally walked through the door, looking annoyed. "What now, Marlon?" "What now? Zephyr, you spent the money I saved from my mom's surgery on a shopping spree. You need to return all this stuff and get my money back," I said, trying to keep my cool. She scoffed. "You can't just return designer items, Marlon. Besides, I told you I'd pay you back." "How? With what money? You don't even have a job," I yelled, finally losing it. Zephyr shrugged. "I'll figure it out. Maybe you can take out a loan or something." That was it. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed a duffel bag and started packing her things. "Get out, Zephyr. We're done. I can't be with someone who has no respect for me or my family." She started crying, but I didn't care. I was too angry and hurt to be swayed by her tears. She left, and I was left to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. The days that followed were a blur of frustration and heartbreak. I had to tell my mom that the money was gone and I couldn't afford her surgery. Seeing the disappointment and fear in her eyes was the hardest thing I've ever done. But I couldn't let her down, so I started looking for other ways to come up with the money. I took on extra shifts at work, sold some of my belongings, and even started a GoFundMe page. My friends and family were incredibly supportive, chipping in as much as they could. Slowly but surely, I was getting closer to my goal, but the pain of Zephyr's betrayal still lingered. One night, I was having a beer with my best friend, Axel. He's the kind of guy who tells it like it is, no sugarcoating. "Marlon, you're better off without her. She was toxic, man. You deserve someone who appreciates you, not a gold digger," he said, clinking his bottle against mine. "I know, Axel. It's just hard to move on. She was a big part of my life," I admitted. "Yeah, but She was a parasite. You'll find someone better, trust me, he assured me. His words were comforting, but the wound was still fresh. I couldn't help but wonder how I had missed the red flags. Maybe I was just too blinded by love to see her true colors. As time went on, I focused all my energy on raising money for my mom's surgery. I worked long hours, barely sleeping, but it was worth it. The kindness of strangers on the GoFundMe page was overwhelming. People I had never met were donating and leaving encouraging messages. Finally, I had enough to cover the surgery. When I told my mom, she cried tears of relief. "Thank you, Marlon. I knew you'd find a way," she said, hugging me tightly. The surgery was a success, and my mom started her recovery. Knowing she was going to be okay lifted a huge weight off my shoulders, but I still had to deal with the emotional aftermath of my breakup with Zephyr. I started seeing a therapist to help me process everything. Talking about my feelings and experiences with someone unbiased helped immensely. Slowly, I started to feel like myself again. One day, while walking through the park, I ran into an old friend from college, Elowen. We hadn't seen each other in years, but it was like no time had passed. We caught up over coffee, and I found myself opening up to her about everything that had happened. "Marlon, that's awful. I can't believe she did that to you," she said, genuinely shocked. "Yeah, it's been rough, but I'm getting through it," I replied. "Well, if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here," Elowen said with a warm smile. Her kindness and empathy were a balm to my wounded heart. We started hanging out more, and I realized how much I had missed having a genuine, caring person in my life. As the months went by, my relationship with Elowen grew stronger. She was everything Zephyr wasn't: kind, supportive, and selfless. She helped me see that there are good people in the world, and that I deserved better than what I had with Zephyr. One evening, as we were walking along the beach, I took her hand. "Elowen, I know we've only been hanging out for a few months, but I really care about you. You've helped me heal in ways I never thought possible. Would you like to be my girlfriend?" She smiled and squeezed my hand. "I'd love that, Marlon." For the first time in a long while, I felt genuinely happy. I had learned a lot from my experience with Zephyr, and I was determined not to make the same mistakes again. I was finally ready to move forward and build a healthier, happier life. Breaking up with Zephyr was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the best decision I could have made. My mom's surgery was a success, and she's now on the road to recovery. I've reconnected with old friends and found love with someone who truly cares about me. Life isn't perfect, but it's getting better every day. I've learned to trust my instincts and to value myself more. And most importantly, I've learned that no matter how tough things get, there's always a way forward. Thanks for listening, Reddit. Your support and advice mean the world to me. If anyone else is going through something similar, just know that you're not alone. There's always hope, and things can get better. Keep your head up. Comments. Blaze Runner. Dude, what a roller coaster. Glad to hear your mom's surgery went well and that you found someone who actually cares about you. Zephyr sounds like a real piece of work. Good riddance. Thanks, Blaze Runner. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Seeing my mom recover was the best feeling ever, and meeting Elowen was like a breath of fresh air. Zephyr taught me some hard lessons, for sure. This was like reading a novel. So glad you found a happy ending. It's inspiring to see how you turn things around. Best of luck to you and Elowen. Appreciate it, Sunflower Chaser. It's been a journey, and I'm grateful for the support. Sharing my story has been therapeutic. I hope it helps others going through tough times. Man, that was some messed up shit Zephyr pulled. I'm pissed on your behalf. Glad you found someone better. Karma's a bitch, and Zephyr will get what's coming to her. Thanks, Wolfheart. I try not to dwell on her too much, but yeah, Karma's got of her address. Focused on the positive now and making the most out of what I've learned.